And we welcome you to episode number 102 of the Seleção podcast, a proud partner of Portugal.net. I am Danny Pinto, your host of this podcast, and we thank you guys so much for tuning in once again. Whether you're watching us on YouTube, if you are, give us the old thumbs up and make sure you're subscribing, or if you are listening to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, any of your podcasting aggregators, make sure you are subscribed to us there. Obviously, a very trying time for the Seleção and Portuguese soccer fans in general, as the tragic news of Diogo Jota's passing, along with his brother Andre. We'll discuss it a little bit here with Mike Agostinho, because we also have the Navegadoras to talk about as well. But a little bit of a more not somber is definitely the feeling, but not a lot of hoot and hollering this episode, that's for sure. So actually, let's go ahead and just bring Mike in right now, as we there he is. Mike, how are you, bud?
Danny? I'm good. I'm good. Happy 4th, by the way. Hope you had a good holiday.
Yeah, likewise, man. Likewise to everybody here in the States. Hope everybody had a good 4th of July. But well, let's get to it. And just it happened on the 3rd. And I'm waking up, getting ready for work, and I look at my phone, and all of a sudden I have text messages, and I have these alerts, and I have the alerts from ESPN, from Bleacher Report, from Twitter, and it's like, this can't be real. And then obviously the unfortunate thing is that it's very much real, and it happens every day with people, whether they're 28 and 25 years old, or whether they're 65. I mean, we all have our time, but man, what a blow. What an absolute blow it was to see that the Diogo Jota at the age of 28 had passed away, along with his brother Andre at 25 in a vehicle accident. It shook me for a good part of the day, man. I don't know, how about you?
Absolutely. I don't know. I seem to be getting this from a lot of people too that I've talked to, but for whatever the reason, this didn't feel like a celebrity or a professional athlete death. This felt like this hit everybody.
Yeah.
This felt like a family member. Like, I was at work, completely incapable of getting anything done all day. It was completely consuming me, and I don't know if it's the fact that he's got little kids that really wrenches at the heart even more. Personally, I had a car crash not too long ago, so that really was like a gut punch also, and makes me remember how fortunate I was that mine turned out better. But it really, I don't know all the whys. I just know this one really hit hard. It really hit home, and it looked like this was the consensus. It seemed like everybody was saying this, and content creators, fans, whoever I came in contact with, whoever was sharing how they were feeling. It was very similar to what I was feeling, and it was the middle of the day before I even remembered we had a game to talk to watch that afternoon, because
Sure.
it can, it's like the world stopped for a while. And I got to give these girls credit for even playing this game and coming out there. And we found out after the match that Diogo Jota was a big fan of the Navegadoras, and that he was in touch with Francisco Neto, and that he was always asking how they were doing. So it hits even closer to home for them. The fact that they were even able to take that pitch and get through these 90 minutes, I think, is quite a sign of character, because I certainly couldn't get anything done that day. I couldn't fulfill my responsibilities at my job that day. I was there, I was there, but I wasn't there. So a lot of credit to them for being able to even do what they did.
Yeah, you mentioned that it didn't feel like a celebrity death or a famous death. And like, yeah, to me, and it just felt like one of our own.
Yeah, literally.
and it, we sometimes try to sensationalize, we, not you and me, but like in general,
Mhm.
like sometimes when
Sure.
someone famous passes away, like we try to put ourselves in that situation, or
Mhm.
how it's impacting us, or how it's in, but we put it out like on the for the whole world to see.
Exactly.
And everybody grieves
Differently.
their own way. Like I just put a post, and I said, hey, I just, this is shocking, this is
Mhm.
tragic, and prayers to Diogo
Mhm.
Jota's family, and like you mentioned, like I've got kids, you've got a family too,
Yeah.
and I'm glad that your accident wasn't
Mhm.
as bad, obviously.
Yeah.
But there's a little, one, being Portuguese, two, being as young as he was. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm much
Younger
older
than
than
us.
he
Yeah.
is.
Same.
But he had just gotten married to his
That that
longtime
that that was cruel, huh?
yeah, I mean, he had just gotten married. He had just won the Nations League. He had just won the title with
Yeah.
Liverpool. Everything had been going as well as it
Yeah.
could, and then it's senseless what happens, or what happened, I should say.
Mhm.
And I don't know about you, Mike, but I got to a point where I was both trying to consume as much Diogo Jota, I guess, reaction,
Mhm.
as at the same time wondering, like, enough. And I do, and what I mean is by this, I didn't, there was some viral stuff that, like, it's seeing him going up to heaven, it's
Yeah.
saying goodbye to his kids. It's
Mhm.
like, dude, it's
It
like,
was too
that's
much. It was too, for me at
it was
least. I had
yeah,
to step away several times to.
and I just, and like I didn't need that.
Mhm.
I wanted the Liverpool reaction. I wanted the
Yeah.
Federation reaction, the players reaction, like Ruben Neves, my
Yeah.
goodness, his best friend.
Exactly.
That's the stuff, like the authentic stuff, the fabricated stuff, which I'm hoping against all hope comes from a good place.
Right.
But I just, it got overwhelming,
Mhm.
understandably,
Yeah.
and at the end of the day, I just felt bad, and I felt sad, and, like, again, a young family, like kids, like him playing with his kids
At the
on the
trophy
Liverpool
celebration.
pitch.
Oh.
Oh, it's like, it just tears
Mhm.
at every part of your heartstring.
Mhm.
Um, so and just, and on the field for our shirt,
Yeah.
never got the full opportunity to see in a long extended period. Um, love taking shots.
Mhm.
Love taking shots. There was I think someone had posted one time, if if Diogo Jota was the gunman when Tupac was shot, Tupac might still be alive today. But you kind of loved seeing that. I mean, he was a very aggressive player,
Yeah. Yeah.
and that was
To
something
the
that
point.
that's what I loved about him.
Yeah.
He was aggressive. He was, to a smaller extent, like kind of what Chico Conceição is right now.
Yeah.
But he would go at the player, and he would keep
Mhm.
going, and he would keep going.
Yeah.
So, on the field is really minimal compared to what's
Yeah.
happening off the field. As of the recording, he's already been buried with his
Mhm.
brother. Obviously, his brother doesn't get the recognition from the world, but
Yeah.
their parents who have lost
Both.
both their
Yeah.
sons, and a father and an uncle, and it's just tragic, man. And
Yeah.
the last thing I'll say on this is just that, n who knows if they'll ever hear anything, any of this, but
Yeah.
just our prayers and strength to the Diogo Jota family and the
Yeah.
Andre
Of course.
Silva family, and
Mhm.
muita força, muitas, just it's just it's unimaginable,
Yeah.
man. It just
Well,
really
you
is.
know.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. We transition here to the game, because the game did happen, as the news broke,
Mhm.
on the same day. It started as bad as it could have in terms of on the field, Mike, because we had talked about in the previous episode how if Portugal, this was likely going to be a loss no matter what. The circumstances obviously didn't help with Diogo Jota's passing, but Spain beats Portugal 5-0 in the first game. They were down 2-0 after 8 minutes, and I had put on Twitter, I'm like, this has the makings of a rout. And to their credit, Mike, they kept it at 2-0 up until the last 5 minutes of the first half. And then when you get to 4-0, it's pretty much done and dusted. Just give me your thoughts on the game and what you saw on the field.
Okay. So again, when we previewed this, I was worried about what combination of players the manager was going to put out. And I don't want to get on him too much either because it doesn't feel right. But Fatima Pinto as a left-sided center back scared me. Okay. Catarina Amado as a left-sided wing back who's right-footed scared me. First goal came right, it came right off of Fatima Pinto's player. It's not her fault when players are put in bad positions. I have a hard time blaming the player. And I mean, 2 minutes in, this is, you're facing the team that, you have to try to hang on and frustrate them and try to make them at least earn every goal, right? You got to try to make it so that they have to be at their best to score on you. And to just give one away so early, and I understand again who knows where their minds were at and where I don't think their hearts were into this game. I'm going to say that. And I think it's understandable, especially at the beginning, but it was 2 minutes. It's just so early. And all of a sudden you deflate. And right there, we're talking about how this is probably a loss. And we're talking about how it's to try not to lose by many. But when after 2 minutes, you've already conceded, a feeling sets in that this is going to be a long night. And, I mean, Portugal were going to be outnumbered in midfield all match. This is a team that has this. They're no different than the Spanish men's team. They have the ball all the time. Okay. One of the keys to playing against a team like that is to not be behind and it's to try to keep everything in front of you. Okay. Once somebody has a 1-0 lead, that's going to encourage them even more to circulate the ball even more and to keep it for even longer stretches. It's going to have them take even fewer risks. You need to force a team like this into taking some risks so that you can maybe win a ball here and try to find a counter somewhere. Of course, that all gets dismantled when you go down so early, and then to let them follow up and get the second one right after again. And, coming off the post, off of a player, and it looked like they were disorganized. It looked like they weren't prepared for those type of deliveries. I talk about how often he rotates the goalkeepers. I don't know if that's affecting the communication between the goalkeeper and the back line. We'll see in the next match if he does that again, and if we see Patricia Moraes in goal, if there's better communication, if it's the same. I think it's hard to get a rhythm and to get a familiarity down when you're constantly changing as many pieces as they change.
Hey, Mike, real quick to that point, you mentioned in the last episode how he rotates the keepers. How much of a rotation happens in the back four?
I mean, it depends. Through the Nations League, it was pretty consistent, which was with these three, which, to me brings a little bit of concern because Fatima Pinto is a natural midfielder, and you have 2, if not 3 more natural center defenders on the bench. So you're playing her out of position. You're playing right-sided players on the left, and he started a Beatriz Fonseca at right back. I don't know why. I talked about his how much he loves to stick with Ana Borges. He actually doesn't stick with her here, and he goes with Beatriz Fonseca, who's only got a handful, a half dozen at most of caps, and ends up subbing her right at halftime. So that tells you that didn't work, and the plan didn't come to fruition. And there's just so much quickness and so much quick ball movement in this Spanish team that if you're not ready and you're not anticipating and you're not keeping the game in front of you, it's that much harder. And, credit to Esther Gonzalez, who scores like the fastest goal in the Euro this year. You know what I mean? And then she gets the second one, that kind of falls from the sky. And then Spain go into cruise control and they play their game. And yeah, Portugal refocus and they do stop the bleeding. And it looked like we were going to get to halftime at just 2-0. And then you start wondering, well, maybe we can steal one and make it 2-1 and have ourselves a contest here in the second half. And at worst case, we keep it a low score line. But, at the end of the half, it all comes undone again. Great play from Spain's right-sided player, Mariona Caldente. She was really, really good. Champions League winner with Arsenal this year. And she steps into the middle, and her deliveries are just so pinpoint. And Portugal's giving her space. They're giving her space. She's finding her teammates' runs and just pinging the ball right to the location where their run is going. You've got a former Ballon d'Or winner in Alexia Putellas. Also, she got on the score sheet here, and she's just finding her form. Spain's best player didn't even play the majority. She was on the Aitana Bonmati, didn't even play. So this is
she had what? She was suffering
meningitis.
Jesus.
Meningitis. She had been in the hospital, I think, a day or two earlier with meningitis. But this is such a strong team, so it's hard. It's hard to criticize. I think a lot of people, when they tune in just for the big tournament, they don't see, along the way, and they see this heavy score line and they just say, our team's horrible. No, this is a team that is far and away better. Our opponents are far and away better than the rest. And it's probably the toughest way to start is to play them. It would have been so much better to get a different opponent first and to really get our feels in and to get some just rhythm and some momentum going. But you come right out the bat and you're playing the top team in the world, arguably, and the defending world champions and the favorite in this tournament, and they're moving the ball around effortlessly and making you chase. And it's just a perfect storm of tough obstacles for Portugal to overcome, which was obviously too much to overcome in one day for this team.
Mike, the reason why we're doing these shows is, my expertise on this national team is none in terms of the women's side. People might say that my expertise on the men's side is probably not that great either, but but in terms of the thing that I noticed that caught me off guard, well, not off guard, but just I was more curious, is they were having such a tough time, Portugal was, once they had the ball in their own end, of getting it out.
Yeah.
And they continuously, on goal kicks, would play them short.
Yep.
And then the possession ended up being like 70-30, which is going to happen against a Spanish team no matter what. But any rhyme or reason as to why they were playing him short? And is it a goalie situation? Like, is the other goalie more of a long ball hitter? Is it because they don't feel that if the ball's in the air, that's a ball that we can win? It was very puzzling to me playing short balls from goal kicks when we were having trouble connecting 1-2 passes together all day anyway.
Yeah, and I made the same criticism of Benfica in the Men's Club World Cup against Chelsea. They did the same exact thing. It was consistently going with these short corners that have become so popular that it's like now it's the belief that it's the only way to play is to build out of the back. And I think the strength on the goal kick could play into it. That could be part of the reason. Maybe they don't feel confident that anyone in the back line can deliver a goal kick to midfield and at least move the point of confrontation further up so that you're defending 30 yards from goal instead of 10 yards from goal. But I don't know. It seems, I don't know if it's a Portuguese thing where it's this reliance on just build up, and short passes, and a fear to play direct, to play quote unquote English or something like that. I don't know if it's some of that. I don't know if they if perhaps no one had the strength to really put it further away. I know Spain has a numerical advantage because Portugal are playing with 5 across the back most of the game. So anywhere on the pitch, Spain are going to outnumber Portugal. But I'd rather them win it, 40 yards away rather than right on the edge of the box every single time. If you're going to be bunkered in and you're going to have to hold your lines, it's a lot easier to have a little bit of daylight in that space. And it also allows your keeper to get up and to play as a sweeper a little bit if you can move that defensive line further up so that you're meeting the Spanish attack at a higher point rather than so deep in your own area. But long answer short, no, I don't know the rhyme or reason why they continue to insist on going with these short passes and continue to insist on losing the ball, on the edge of their own penalty area. Sometimes it was even unforced errors. It was a straight pass from the outside back right to a Spanish midfielder, as if Portugal were playing in red that day.
Yeah, and again, I'm not asking you to influence Net's brain here, but is it? Do you think it's a reason why he had maybe midfielders playing back?
It could have been. That's a very logical. Yeah, that's a very logical reason to drop midfielders, is because you want to try to keep the ball when you have it a little bit, and you're going to get it further back more so than further up. But it doesn't give you too many options who to make that next pass to. That's the problem. And it felt like whatever midfielder from Portugal is going to receive that pass, they were double marked every time. There were two Spanish players very close by. And that's just the numbers game because of the way that Portugal were quite frankly forced to play deep in this game. So there's not much you can do about that, but maybe play some more balls toward the sidelines. So if it gets overhit, it goes out of bounds, or it gets underhit, there's time to collect your shape and prepare to defend that next attack. But it seems like it's always to the outside back, and then it comes inside for an inside midfielder, and then two Spanish players collapse on it and steal the ball. There was a lot of that over and over and over.
Yep. Yeah. An unfortunate scoreline 5-0. I thought the last goal was unnecessary just based on the time left on the clock. There was 2 minutes. It was 2 minutes of injury time. Mm-hmm. The Spanish corner kick, I believe, was taken like at 92-15 or something like that. It's like you're up 4-0. You're not going to lose the game, whatever the case is. But that goal could be a difference maker, because as we're talking here with Mike Agostinho here on episode number 102 of the Seleção podcast, we are just finished reviewing the 5-0 loss to Spain. As of this recording, Portugal plays tomorrow against an Italy side that did win their first game as well. Yeah. They beat Belgium 1-0. So right now you have the best team in the world that you just lost to. You're hoping that you would get a draw between Italy and Belgium to have something to play for anyway. But now you really need, Mike, you really need 3 points in this match against Italy, no?
I think so. I said when we were previewing it that I stopped myself. I said, looking at it, we probably need 6 points to get out of the group in this group, because the Spain game kind of went the way I feared. And once you have that lopsided of a goal difference against you, it's going to be hard to win any tiebreakers. So the only way to get by is to not be in a tiebreaker, and it's to win these next two matches. And hope that Spain, take care of business when they've already qualified as well. It's going to be a tough one. And, Italy, or for whatever the rankings are worth, are ranked 13th in the world, Portugal 22nd. They're somewhat valid because the Nations League kind of has made the rankings make sense, because the top teams are playing each other. So you can trust up to an extent that if somebody's in the top 20, top 10, that's right around where they belong. Well, we can argue about the exact positioning, but in groups, that teams are more or less where they belong. And I expect that Italy's going to see much more of the ball than Portugal. Remember, Italy's confident too, and they're seeing this as an opportunity to wrap up qualification before they even have to play Spain. If you're Italy,
100%,
you don't want to leave anything for that last game. So I think they're going to be very aggressive in coming after Portugal. I think they're going to look for the goal. But that could open up the opportunity where Portugal could get some sort of a counterattack going and find some weakness to exploit. And we didn't get a chance to see it against Spain because we could not get the ball up there, but we do have attackers with some pace that can do some damage in transition. So this is a game Portugal can really, really send a message here of what kind of team they are in this game. This can really show a resiliency that I think they have. Again, the combination of players have to be right. The scouting report has to be right. I don't know the Italian team as well as I wish I did in order to try to, guess what kind of lineup we'd put out. But I know the manager's tendency. So I think you can expect 3 or 4 changes. I think you might even see completely different wide players in this game. I expect the other goalkeeper, Patricio Moraes, to play because that's been his modus operandi for as long as I can remember. You might see a different strike pair too. It wouldn't shock me if both Silvas go to the bench and 2 other strikers, Telma Encarnação and Ana Capita, come in to start, or some combination of that. But I think Telma Encarnação has to play in this match because she is your goal scorer. Like, she's the number 9 of number 9s. So you got to have the player that's most likely to find the back of the net, I think, on the pitch in this one, unless there's something we don't know about. Sometimes in these camps, there's an injury or an illness that we don't really know about, and that's why somebody's out, and that information never gets out to us. So that could be an issue. But I think in midfield, Portugal's midfield is going to have to go 50-50 with this Italian midfield. Both teams like to play with 3 at the back, judging by recent lineups. So that means there's going to be a lot of bodies in midfield battling for loose balls, battling for positioning, battling for possession. And then if Portugal can see some of the ball, can get it settled and try to get it into more attacking positions, and whoever the attackers may be, the ball has to get to their feet so that they can get towards the penalty area and try to generate some sort of scoring opportunity. Obviously, against Spain, there were no real scoring opportunities. But here against Italy, there's got to be 2 or 3, and you got to hope that one of them finds the back of the net to give yourself a chance. And if Portugal can get the lead, that changes everything. They really can't afford to go behind, especially early. That needs to be cleaned up. That first 15-minute portion of the match has to almost be at no risk at all. Keep it 0-0. Let the match come to us. Let it find its rhythm, and then we play from there. That'd be my approach if I were Francisco Neto going into this one.
Is there anything that you can take away in a positive from the second half, given that there was no goals given up until the end of right up the last minute or second of the second half, but any of the subs that come to mind? Because I thought you mentioned her name here. I thought Ana Capita played well in her time. Yeah. She was a little bit of a disruptor.
And she can do that. That's one of her strengths. She's a little bit of a pit bull in up front and can really apply some pressure. I thought moving Fatima Pinto into midfield really helped a lot too. It added a body and it added experience. It added quality with the ball, and that kept Spain's attack further away from the goal, of course. And I think it'd be wise to move her into midfield. If he's going to continue to play her from the start. There's a number of combinations you can do, but I think you need at least 4 in midfield, even if it means you only have 1 striker at first. You need at least 4 in midfield, I think, to territorially take your space and to try to establish some ball movement, establish some passing circulations, and just find combinations that work. Find the spaces that Italy are going to give you so that you can later exploit it with more dangerous players. We'll see if he pushes 2 wing backs further up and expects them to do more of the corridor. That's also going to require Portugal to have the ball. If you want your wing backs to get forward, you have to get the ball and keep it in order for them to have time to get forward. So I look forward to hearing what his pre-match I hope it's later today. It might be tomorrow, but hearing what his pre-match press conference is going to sound like and how he's approaching this one.
Yeah, Francisco Neto actually
Did he get the already?
No. He no. It's just some notes that he had from some quotes from after the game on Monday or Thursday, whatever it was. But he said on the halftime substitutions, we wanted to increase the timing and intensity of our pressing. We know Ana Borges is a player who presses aggressively. We also know Fatima Pinto is very competitive and can raise the team's intensity in the midfield. That allowed us to improve and grow. So a little bit on what you were talking about as well. So for me, if I want to let's go with the P on my hat. If you're watching on YouTube, the positive approach here. And I don't mean this like tongue in cheek or anything. You got your hardest game out of the way.
Yes, absolutely.
And in a way, Italy winning, now that I think about it, could be a blessing in disguise because they're going to look at you. Italy's going to look at Portugal perhaps as maybe an easy result. If you somehow can get 3 points against Italy, Italy is looking right smack dab at Spain.
They're in the worst position they can be in. Yeah, absolutely.
And, Belgium's going to play Spain here tomorrow as well. Spain will take care of business against Belgium. It would be a shock if they didn't. So all of a sudden, you're at 3 points.
And a tie's not so bad anymore in the final match.
It's not so bad, but at the same time, it's like you kind of are in the driver's seat because
you take control.
Spain's going to have if they're going to get 6 points, especially if Portugal does win, they get the group no matter what.
Right.
But they still have like a wealth of talent from everything that we've seen in the Spanish Federation, both on both sides.
Yeah.
That Italy's going to need a win, but it's not like Spain is just going to roll over and be like, we're in, whatever.
No.
As aggressive as Italy would probably need to play, that opens a huge counterattacking opportunity for Spain, and we could be still in a spot where Portugal sees its way into the knockout stages. That's the positive outlook that I'm looking at right now, based on numbers, based on matchup stuff like that. But I mean, there's still everything to play for at the end of the day.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you said, Portugal takes the driver's seat with a head-to-head lead on Italy if they win tomorrow. So going into the last game, you have a lot less pressure. Well, Italy would have all the pressure in the world. And mathematically, Belgium would still be in. But, the goal difference are not going to be on Portugal and Belgium's side of the argument.
No.
It comes down to goal difference. So, yeah, it's not the worst position to be in because I think Italy could come in slightly overconfident, feeling like, we got Portugal, Belgium beat them 3-0 the last time they played. We just beat Belgium. We just, do our thing and we take the 3 points and we move on. And if you can get them, with a surprise shot and go up 1-0, you could see panic start to set in. You could see mistakes start to happen, which could then open up, more opportunity for Portugal to add to that lead and to maybe really, really go for that victory. And if Portugal get a win against Italy here, I think the confidence will be through the roof going into that final match. So, yeah, this is a huge second match here, and suddenly, what I said about playing Spain being tough at the start could turn into a blessing.
Absolutely.
If the results go, the way that you just presented, it all of a sudden is like, well, at least we don't have to play them now in a must-win. And I'd said, last episode that if Portugal get to the final day with a chance to win, that's already somewhat of an accomplishment with the chance to advance, excuse me. So, again, survive this game, go into the final one with the chance to advance, and you got it all to play for, and anything can happen. What you can't have is have this game eliminate Portugal from the final day, essentially. You want to take it to the very end at the very least. So I think they're gonna hopefully be wise. They're an experienced team, so there's no reason to make foolish mistakes going after something too soon. I think they know they've been in enough of these games now that they know that the opportunities will come as long as they do what they're supposed to do inside those lines for those 90 minutes. The opportunities will come, and then you have to take them when they come.
Mike, thank you so much, man, for your
problem.
expertise once again, and appreciate you making time. And we will talk as we preview Belgium and hopefully reviewing a very positive day for our Navegadoras against Italy. Again, they play July 7 as of this recording. That is tomorrow. They play July 7 at noon Pacific time, 3 p.m. Eastern. And then they play again on July 11th against Belgium. Hopefully Yeah, hopefully with something big time to play for. So we
get
we,
your
we
first
should,
advancement, first time
yeah,
to the
that'd
knockout
be
stage. Hopefully.
that'd be unbelievable. So
Yeah,
Mike, all the best to you, man, and
you
we'll
too.
talk next episode.
All right, thanks, Danny. I enjoyed it.
All right, bro. And that will do it here for episode number 102 of the Seleção podcast. Again, my thanks to Mike Agostinho. You could follow Mike on Twitter. The majority of our interactions here on the podcast are on Twitter. You can follow Mike on Twitter at Mike Agostinho. That is MikeAgostinho, all one word. Mike doesn't do the underscores and the crazy stuff. It's just first name, last name. And it's lucky for him. Someone who doesn't tweet has had Danny Pinto for like 7 years and hasn't tweeted like in 14. I don't know, whatever. The math doesn't math there, but you guys get what I'm saying. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. It's been a tough few days for us supporters of this national team, of supporters of Portuguese soccer, of the game in general, and I hope everyone's been able to just kind of, for lack of a better term, digest as best you can the tragic news of Diogo Jota's passing and his brother Andre Silva's passing. It's one of those things where life isn't fair. There really isn't a reason that you guys can that any of us can pinpoint. But we just look back. For me, we look back and with fondness and with gratitude to the time that we had Diogo Jota on our screens wearing our shirt, and we just wish all the best to his family, to Andres' family, and a big abraço to all of you out there impacted by this. So that'll be the end of the podcast. I won't play the music out of respect. Força Portugal, Força Diogo Jota, Força Andre Silva, and may they both rest in peace.